Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish Podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmurz Day, September 15th, 2025. On the show today, news, including a fantastic Disneyland discount. Plus, I go to Halloween Horror Nights. And we have listener questions. Then in our main segment, Jim continues the story of how Disney California Adventure prepared for its Cars Land redo in 2012. Let's get started by bringing in the man who says that if you can keep calm while everyone else around you is freaking out, it's possible you don't understand how bad the situation is. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
It's going well, Len, though. To my way of thinking, that sounds an awful lot like if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, which, of course, key line out of Rudyard Kipling's famous poem, If, by the way, written back in 1895, which makes that poem 130 years old this year.
Wow. All right.
By the way, Rudyard reportedly wrote this thing to offer some parental advice to his son, John, which probably explains why the final stanza of this thing is, which is more, you'll be a man, my son.
And clean your room while you're at it.
There we go. There we go.
Would it kill you to write to your mother? Regards, Dad.
Very much so. Okay, weird little bend in the story. Rudyard Kipling, of course, long associated with India, was born in Mumbai, 1865. Then schooled in the UK. In fact, actually died in London in 1936, age of 70. But what a lot of people don't know about Rudyard Kipling is between 1893 and 1896, he actually lived up here in New England. In fact, just one state over from me, Len, in Vermont,
really?
In a custom-built writing college that Rudyard called Nalika. Interesting. This is where Kipling actually wrote Captain's Courageous and The Jungle Book.
Really?
Yep. And Len, we would have known about this already if Walt hadn't cut that scene out of Disney's animated version of The Jungle Book where Baloo admitted to Mowgli his terrible, terrible addiction to maple syrup.
You got to get the runtime down, Jim. It's got to be an hour and a half.
There we go. I'm sorry. The bare necessities ran long. The scene's got to go.
The bare necessities, including syrup.
There we go.
That is fantastic. All right, Jim, let's do a quick shout out to our subscribers. Thanks to everyone who subscribes to the show over at patreon.com/JimHillMedia, including Jeremy Gerdes, Scott Holmes, Jay Finlayson, Lee Stone, Brian Fanning, and Sarah Braham Holland. Jim, these are the live actors we see in Spaceship Earth, and they're getting a much-needed break during the ride's current refurbishment. In fact, Sarah's been selling Civil War newspapers since 1986. They say Disney's sending them on an around-the-world vacation, starting in Canada and ending in Mexico. True story.
Well, okay. Enjoy your churro.
On to the news, folks. The Disney Dish News is sponsored by UnlockedMagic.com from our friends at DVCRentalStore.com. Jim, I note that UnlockedMagic.com has regular Disney theme park tickets and special events tickets with 10% off for things like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party and Jollywood Nights. And I note, Jim, that the first date for the Very Merry Christmas Party has now sold out, and we're only halfway through September.
Wow.
So if you're planning to head to Orlando, visit UnlockedMagic.com right now to save big on your admission tickets. All right. I noted the first Very Merry Christmas Party for November 7th has sold out. That is interesting, Jim, because we are not yet halfway through our Halloween season. But looks to be popular, and this one was expensive.
Yeah. Though, the same pattern held, right? That the first one, so if you wanted bragging rights, you paid top dollar to take part in the first Not So Scary and Very Merry.
I'm a little surprised that that the first one sells out first. You would think that the last one, the one closest to Christmas, would sell out first, but I get it. Yeah. Also, we got an announcement that Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is doing its Earth, Wind, and Fire all-day overlay on September 21st. So if you remember in the song September by Earth, Wind, and Fire, the date is the 21st of September.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Okay.
My daughter Hannah has a friend, her college roommate, was Helen, is named Helen. And her birthday is September 21st. So every year we call and sing her that song on her birthday. And it's also one of the easiest birthdays to remember, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Also, Jim, our friends over at wdwmagic.com have posted photos from roads around the Magic Kingdom that might show the new Cool Ship building being transported in pieces to Tomorrowland. And remember, Jim, Cool Ship is something that was designed by our friend and Imagineer Jim Scholl.
Yeah.
And there have been construction walls up around this area since May. I posted photos of what looks like to be the new Cool Ship in the show notes.
Okay. Okay.
Did you know that it was a mobile home? I did not.
I was about to say, wow. Do we have a timeline as to when this is actually going to be up and running? Or
No, I'm expecting definitely before the end of the year, though, because if they're transporting the building in, and they've already got the footer poured. So, I mean, I imagine this is just a matter of bolting the building down, then installing all of the plumbing and whatnot.
I guess the giveaway will be when we see the crane backstage behind Tomorrowland in Main Street.
That's true. That's true. And speaking of construction, there's lots of like small construction projects or of various sizes really going around the resort. There are walls up again at Woody's Lunchbox over in Toy Story Land. And you remember they just installed a bunch of seating. And I don't know, is this more seating or is it something else? I think it's got to be more seating because every seat is taken up. Like every time I've been there this week, it is just completely filled. And it doesn't help that half the time I'm there, it's like monsooning in the afternoon. But yeah.
The irony here is same size kitchen, same physical window setup.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. We're in the infinite number of monkeys serving lunch situation, but okay.
Right. Also, while I was over in the studios, I took a look over at Monstropolis, and it looks like we're getting concrete footers poured.
Wow.
For parts of that. So they're moving fast with that.
Oh, yeah. They are not kidding around.
Yeah. And also, when I was at the Magic Kingdom on, was it Sunday or Monday? I can't remember. But it looks like they're getting backstage. They're getting delivery of some of the underground drainage pipe and infrastructure for that. So that's good because we haven't even started demo yet, but that stuff is starting to be staged. So that's good.
Okay.
And while I was back in that area, I noted that Disney's filed South Florida Water Management District plans for a redo of the Grand Floridian entrances, plus the wedding pavilion. And Jim, the interesting thing here is, how they're doing the Floridian Way redo, like from the north part of property. There are going to be 2 roundabouts that connect either end of this part of the Grand Floridian. And I love it for a couple of reasons. Number one, if you have roundabouts instead of stoplights, the traffic will flow smoother. But, I'm looking at the fact that Americans now have to go through 2 roundabouts to get here. And I'm like, good luck, brothers. Like that's
the weird thing is I grew up in Massachusetts and out there we used to call them rotaries. In fact, there used to be a famous one. As you approached the Cape, I want to say it was at the Bourne Bridge or the Sagamore Bridge, and eventually the Massachusetts Department of Transportation was like, we are just too stupid to figure these out.
It's like trying to force the metric system on drivers.
Yeah, no, they eventually tore out the rotaries and put in traditional lights and crossings. Yeah. So what's been interesting just over the past couple of years is driving out in the wilds of Massachusetts, I've come across a few brand new rotaries. So I guess they are coming back into vogue.
Well, Celebration, where I live, has 2 now. And they're both over by, one was there for a while. It was over by Celebration High School. But when the shiny new Publix opened up on the other side of Celebration, instead of installing a light there, they installed a roundabout. And it's fun to see, people trying to merge into the roundabout. I mean, it's funny from a distance and when it's not happening to be.
Oh, no. I just wanted to know, is there an Osceola County sheriff just sitting there waiting?
I was planning on opening up a tow truck place, like right in that shopping center, figuring I'd just be there.
There
right?
we go.
It's just super fast. Yeah. All right. In other news, Disney Cruise Line has just announced a 3-month delay of the inaugural sailing of the Disney Adventure out of Singapore. So it was December of 2025, is now March 10th, 2026. Guests with affected itineraries are getting refunds and a 50% discount on their next Disney Cruise Line cruise. So, Jim, I note that this delay has happened right after the first sea trials of the ship. And 2 things I'm thinking here. One, remember, Jim, when this thing was announced, it was at the time the largest cruise ship in the world.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if this delay is like we just couldn't project plan accurately enough for the 8 bajillion staterooms that are on this ship, or if it's something to do with the sea trials. It could be either. It could be neither too, right?
Face it, Disney obviously at this point has lots of experience with getting ships out the door. But on the other hand, nothing on this scale before. And certainly, again, remember, this is something they acquired and then had to retrofit.
Right. So it's not the it's not a Dream class ship. It's not a Wonder class ship. It's not a Wish class ship. It's a one-off.
There we go.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's retrofitting the systems and stuff in there that's taking the time. All right, that's possible too.
Okay.
Jim, an anonymous friend sent in a pin code Disneyland offer, and it's similar to the one that our friend Scott Gustin has posted on social media. I note that a one-day park hopper ticket is $139. This runs from now until December 12th. A 2-day park hopper ticket's $259, and a 3-day park hopper's $359. And I did some checking around here, played around with some prices. A 2-day non-hopper on a randomly selected date in the middle of October, like the middle of this offer, is $330. So that's $80 off.
Wow.
Plus you get park hopping.
That's a great deal. Holy cow.
Yeah. So not only are you getting a discount on the ticket, you're getting a discount on park hopping too. So I mean, we note that park hopping will probably mean that you stay longer, which means you probably buy more food and drinks, maybe some extra merch. Yeah. Also, if you note, most of this offer, which runs from, again, now through mid-December, runs during Disney's first quarter of fiscal year 2026. So that would indicate future bookings are looking softer than they expected or wanted. I think like the Bureau of Labor Statistics adjustment numbers that came out for employment last week did not inspire a lot of confidence in the economy. Things aren't great for domestic tourism to begin with. International tourism, same thing. So, I mean, this is one of the ways that Disney has to get people in the parks, right? So I have faith that they can figure this out.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so funny lately. I was talking with some Canadian friends recently, and they literally refer to the United States as flyover country. So it was like,
thanks.
I just sort of like, we need to turn this around.
Yeah. And Jim, over at Universal Orlando, I note that Universal has just won several Golden Ticket Industry Awards presented by Amusement Today for its theme parks. They won an award for Best New Coaster for Stardust Racers at Epic Universe. Best Dark Ride, Monsters Unchained, The Frankenstein Experiment, which is wonderful. Best New Theme Concept, which is Darkmoor, the village in which Monsters Unchained is. And then Best New Attraction Installation for Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry. So congratulations to everyone over at Universal Creative for that. It's much deserved.
Yep. I would have also loved to have seen the Isle of Berk get a little love, but what are you going to do?
Well, the Amusement Today is notoriously anti-Viking, Jim.
Oh, so. Well, of course.
And speaking of industry events, Jim, we should have the annual TEA AECOM theme park attendance report any day now, right?
Yeah.
Because last year it was August 15th, and normally it's June.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we talked about this last year. That for some reason, these numbers aren't speeding out the door.
Well, last year they said that it was more, the thing I heard was that it was more work than they anticipated. But you can't use that same reasoning 2 years in a row, right?
Well, I mean, the dog was hungry. Ate my homework again. Go figure.
Why again? Exactly. Also, for Universal Orlando, I attended Halloween Horror Nights this week, and it was fantastic. I thought it was even better than last year. It might rival for me 2023 in terms of fun.
Wow.
The first thing I saw was Nightmare Fuel, the stage show, which is fantastic with some great new stage effects this year. So last year was the first year that I saw it. What I didn't realize was the opening theme is the same every year. So the continuity part of it was new to me. And I really love that. And I think all the performers are fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong with attractive people doing fun dances with fire. Like, well, no, those are the three elements of a good party, right?
Likewise, the fact that the performance ends and there's only a couple of third-degree burns among the performers and the audience. I mean, that's the pyro in this show is crazy.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, like the amount of Bactine and sterile gauze pads backstage has to be like, would they just truck it in every night?
Gotta be airdrop. Yeah. Okay.
I also thought the scare zones were better this year. I think they might have been the best that I've seen so far. Especially there's one called The Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. And it was really thought out well because the theme sets in gradually and gets spookier the deeper in you go. So you're not like, you don't just jump into this one. It's like, oh, that's an interesting looking thing. I'm not going to give away what it is. Oh, that's more interesting. Oh, things are getting crazier. And then you're like in the middle of it. So that was fantastic.
I just a quick note here, Len. Nancy was actually offended that you didn't, again, the Cat Lady of Crooked Lane, that you didn't drop by and say hello.
Sorry about that, Nancy.
There we go.
Also, the fun thing, so I haven't experienced this before at HHN, but it started pouring around 10:30 at night. So I would say anyone that's going anytime soon, bring ponchos, bring an extra pair of shoes for the next day, and expect some weather delays. Houses shut down when that happens. So they shut down for two reasons. One, people don't exit the houses when it's pouring.
No, they don't.
And that backs up the flow. But the other thing, I didn't realize this, Jim, but some of the houses, the ones in tents and the ones in the back, they actually have drainage issues.
They do.
That Universal's tried to ameliorate over the last year. You can see where they've put in new, French drain systems. But still, it's when the rain comes down that fast in Orlando, there's just nowhere for the water to flow that quickly. So. I did miss three houses. I missed Five Nights at Freddy's, WWE, which I want to go with our listener Matt Cardona, and then Hill Testa. So I got to go back and do those three if we can.
Okay. I mean, the Five Nights at Freddy's people have just, the animatronic puppet stuff that the Henson people did evidently is just over the moon. Just great stuff.
But I did like Jason Universe. So that's the Friday the 13th universe. Really well done. Jim, I think this is the first time I've ever been in a Jason scenario where they do the sound in person.
Yeah.
That was creepy. Like you walked in, you're like, yeah, this is just isn't going to end well, and I know it.
There we go.
There was the other house I liked, Galkan Monsters of the North. It's a Scandinavian theme, and part of it goes through a stave church. And one of the things that I loved about it was Universal got the smell of stave churches correct. Like I've been to real stave churches in real Scandinavia, and the smell was accurate. I'm like, who does that? Yeah,
I will drop by Yankee Candle later today just to see
see what they got.
There we go.
Do you have anything in a Scandinavian church? Yeah, exactly. I thought the Fallout house was really good. I know a little bit about the show and about the video games, and that was pretty faithful. Terrifier, which is Crazy Clown. Was really gory, which I can kind of take or leave. That's not my thing. But lots of references to the movies, very detailed, very long. If you don't like scary clowns jumping out at you, I would not go to this house.
Is this the one that offers you two paths?
Two paths, a wet and a dry. And we were already wet from the rain and wearing ponchos, so we took the wet version. And I gotta say, like, I have sensory issues to begin with. Like, they're mild, but like having stuff drip on you indoors is just not a great feeling.
No.
Yeah. But really well done. Very detailed. Tons of in-jokes.
Okay.
For stuff. And everyone that I was with thought it was like their top 2 or 3 houses.
Okay.
So, there was one called Dolls, which was, actually, I like Dolls a lot. It was one of the first ones we went to. Hatchet and Chains, went to that one of those first. And then Grave of Flesh was fine. It was, I think I understood it the least of all of the ones that I went to, but none of them were bad. They were all great. The place setting and the stylistic elements of all of them were fantastic. They keep inventing new ways to have to hide people who are jumping out at you.
Yeah.
And that was a real improvement. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you would think there's only so many ways to do. And I think that the technical term in this industry is a boo hole.
A boo hole? Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, every time, in fact, the thing that kills me when you do a Universal Halloween, when they'll set up a part of the walkthrough where the same performer can come at you twice.
Oh, they have 3. They have hidey holes now with 3 different openings. That's what I mean. They're continuing advancements in ways to scare you that you didn't know about ahead of time.
Well, there's nothing quite like a triumphant teenager that has managed to scare you twice inside of like 5 seconds. Like, oh, you could literally hear them backstage high-fiving each other. Did it? Got him. Yeah, you know.
When I was in the Terrifier house, like someone had, there was one of those where it was like sort of like a T-shaped walk around thing, and it was somebody jumping out at 3 points, and they got, I missed them the first chance, but on the next two, the person scared me, and I knew that the first one was there. Yeah. They got me on the second one, and I was like, well, okay, now I'm going to keep going. Because I have a few seconds until the next scare, and I didn't realize there was the third scare coming up. And that person jumped out at me, and I was like, I'm going to tell my therapist about you, because this is not...
Okay.
Not fair. All right. Anyway. All right. On to listener questions, Jim. Here's one from Steve Cherry, and it's a comment on last week's question about why the cost of a Universal Orlando vacation doesn't get the press coverage that Disney World does. And Steve says this. He says, the length of stay cost is one factor here. Up until recently, Universal Orlando was, and he says, and in parentheses, apologies to Volcano Bay, a 2-park campus. A typical family could reasonably do it all in 2 days. Disney has more parks, and just being bigger overall, even a minimal 4-day experience is pushing it for a family to see everything, causing more people to stay longer. But so if you look at ticket lengths and hotel stays, Disney trips simply need more time. All right, that's fair. That's a good point.
That is an excellent point, and especially now with Epic Universe coming on the canvas. I mean, I wonder if that is in fact changing people's perception of the Universal Orlando Resort more to the point how they think about, well, how much time do we need to do this right?
Right. I mean, I think you need at least 3 days to see the 3 parks. And you could argue that you might need a 4th just for either rest or finishing up the things. And then when you add in special events like Horror Nights, now you're definitely looking at 4 nights. And maybe you throw in a Volcano Bay on that recovery day after Halloween Horror Nights. Yeah.
Okay.
Our friend Doug Gessel sent in an email titled Non-Illuminations, which, that's going to get my attention.
Okay.
And he says, do you know if there are any plans to fix the LED lights around Epcot? I noticed recently that the ground lights in World Celebration still don't work. Also, it seems the lights on the buildings around Spaceship Earth, as well as some on Spaceship Earth itself, are not all functioning. As of right now, the only way to see the original vision for this part of Epcot is to ride Soarin'. Okay, that's fair. So I was walking around Epcot Tuesday, dodging rain, and I walked by the lights to check on them even before Doug's email. They are securely fastened into the ground. Now, remember, we saw them like popping up, getting loose from their moorings, and they look secure. It was afternoon, so I get a chance to see if they worked after dark, but at least they have that one issue done. I might pop back to Epcot tonight then and see what's going on.
Wow. I'm especially intrigued by him saying about the lights on Spaceship Earth itself. Because remember that one of the reasons they settled on the way that building is lit up, it's what is it? It's a car signal turn light. I mean, they're supposed to almost never burn out. So
I don't know that cars are typically going to have their blinkers on for 4 or 5 hours a night for 365 days a year. I mean, the way I drive it does.
Well,
yes.
turn off your blinker.
Just get in the left lane and get in the left lane, turn your blinker on, and just stay in the lane.
There we go. There, welcome to Florida.
Exactly. It's helpful when I go through the roundabout and have the blinker on the wrong way.
There we go.
I just like to keep everyone on their toes, Jim. I'm just saying. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Jim continues the story of construction challenges that Disney faced when building Cars Land in DCA. We'll be right back.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
This episode is brought to you by FXX and Hulu. Futurama returns on September 15th, blending heartfelt moments with razor-sharp humor while accidentally saving the day. The Planet Express crew is back, defying gravity and common sense. From the creator of The Simpsons comes 10 new episodes where the romance is hotter, the threats are bigger, and the action hits harder. Don't miss the all-new season of Futurama returning September 15th at 8 p.m. Watch it on FXX or stream it on Hulu.
And we're back. All right, Jim, I believe we left off last week with Kevin Rafferty having an idea to use cars in Disney California Adventure. And he happened to mention it to John Lasseter,
Yes.
who was at Pixar. And John was like, I got a movie I think you need to see if it's about cars.
That's it exactly. Come on, you need to come up to Emeryville. Now, again, remember, this story gets started January of 2004. And this is that moment where the lines of communication have effectively been severed between Pixar and Disney corporate because of, well, remember, Steve Jobs had actually broken off the talks to extend Disney's contract with Pixar. And so it's this part of the Cars land development story that absolutely fascinates me because you have these two huge projects going on at the same time. You've got Cars, the movie, being made up in Emeryville, and you've got this Cars land thing that Barry Braverman has asked Kevin Rafferty to come up with for DCA with the notion of, we were always going to celebrate California car culture. Can you figure out a way to do it? And for me, just the fact that these two separate projects had so many parallels. I mean, the thing that Rafferty initially came up with, Cruise Street, which was going to be the main drag in Car Land, not Cars Land, but it was going to be a small town in the American Southwest along Route 66, time-locked, in much the same way that Main Street USA is time-locked turn of the century. This was time-locked for the late 50s, early 60s.
Well, I mean, not for nothing, but that period of time is to us as the turn of the 20th century was to Disneyland, first day guests, right? 50, 60 years ago?
Absolutely. Yeah. But on the other hand, if we switch now to Cars, the movie, and Radiator Springs, I mean, again, small town in Carburetor County, which is also the American Southwest, along Route 66. But in this case, this town got time locked because the highway passed them by in the early 1960s.
The Eisenhower interstate system, right? Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
Which was
so
the 50s, yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is Kevin makes this creative decision because it's a design choice, whereas John makes his decision for story reasons. And coming at it from different directions, they come at the exact same setting. American Southwest, Route 66, filled with 1- and 2-story buildings tied to the 50s and the 60s. I mean, it just, what are the odds of that actually happening?
Wait, here's what I think is interesting about this story. And you've told me the story before, but I literally didn't pick up on it until now. At this point in 2004, Disney and Pixar are on the outs. Right? Eisner and Jobs are not getting along. But yet, Lasseter picks up the phone and calls Kevin Rafferty and says, here's this thing that we're going to be putting out. It might be good for the Disney theme parks, not knowing if there's going to be a relationship between these two companies in 3 years.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time.
Yeah, like what was the calculus there?
Well, you also have to remember that John Lasseter, and we talked about this on
Theme Park Nerd, yeah.
Yeah, totally. First real job was a Jungle Cruise skipper. So he wanted Pixar stuff in the parks.
Yeah.
In fact, remember, while this is going on, while Disney and Pixar are on the outs, we still got A Bug's Land in October of 2022. In fact, the weirdest part of the story, the Monsters, Inc. Mike and Sully to the Rescue opened at DCA on January 23rd, 2006. And I'm at the press event. I'm talking with the Pixar rep who seems really distracted. But it's just sort of like, aren't you happy you finally got this open? And there's a real nice representation of the movie. And it's like, yeah. Tell you what, can you call me tomorrow? I might have a story to share with you. And the very next day is when they announced the $7.4 billion acquisition of Pixar Animation Studios. So it was just sort of like, normally I would be paying attention to this, but something a little larger over the horizon.
Yeah, this is open. I got to worry about the next thing. Yeah,
there we go. There we go.
How about that?
So, all right. Anyway, back to Cruise Street. And again, just the weird parallels between what Pixar did and what Kevin put together. Take, for example, again, it's a theme park. You got to do restaurants. So Kevin came up with Marty's Malt Shop, classic diner. By the way, Marty, the Marty in charge of Marty's Malt Shop, that's named after longtime WI head Marty Sklar. But again, classic diner where you, in fact, in his original vision for this, you could sit outside of the diner in a beautifully restored car, and a car hop on roller skates would roll up. But think about it. If we now pivot to Cars the movie, we had the V8 Cafe. And what's scary is, Len, it was in the same exact position in the layout of the town that Marty's Malt Shop was on Cruise Street. And there's a part of me that, you would have loved this, that if they had actually gone forward with the construction of Marty's Malt Shop. And you know how Epcot has its open kitchens, so you're there at Food and Wine, and you could look at your stuff being prepared. Kevin was going to move this to the next level. I mean, the idea is that there in the parking lot of Marty's Malt Shop was literally going to be a hot rod. As in, they were going to build a grill as if it were a roadster. And
a 1950s roadster.
There we go. Okay. And so they're on the engine block. Well, it looks like your burger's almost done there. Let me move the carburetor out of the way. But at the same time, Kevin's... Again, remember, his assignment was bring Disneyland DNA into DCA. So it's like, okay, I'm looking cold-bloodedly at classic Disneyland theme park attractions. And what else can I bring into this park? And it's like, well, there's the Country Bear Jamboree, where you go and watch animatronic creatures perform music. And so the notion was that, okay, what if we did the Junkyard Jamboree? And
remember wasn't there a thing like this in the 1964 World's Fair?
Yes. All right. Thank you for
auto parts.
That's it, exactly. As you are making your way through the queue for the Ford's Magic Skyway, yes, you actually passed auto parts mufflers that were pretending they were saxophones. But yes, this is Kevin being the ultimate theme park nerd, where he's taking the concept of Country Bear and marrying it to elements from the queue of the 64 World's Fair and creating a brand new ride through.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you're doing car related songs, I guess, from the 50s and 60s. A lot of Jan and Dean involved here. Yeah.
That's it exactly. But what's especially intriguing about this is that if we move now to Car Land's e-ticket, which at one point was called Scoot 66, but eventually became known as Road Trip USA. And And again, just want to stress here, Kevin was an Orange County kid. We talked about this on last week's show. He grew up, in fact, even today, lives not 10 miles away from Disneyland. So he was there early and got to experience short-lived attractions, like, for example, the Midget-Autopia, which only ran in Disneyland for 9 years, April of 57 and through April of 66. And Kevin had very vivid memories as a little kid of being able to, small boy stepping down into a car and getting behind the wheel. And
oh, sure.
But he also had equally strong memories of Disneyland's old mine train through Nature's Wonderland. Opening day attraction hung on in the park till January of 77. And then by that point, the real estate just got too valuable then. And this is where ultimately that park's Big Thunder was built. But anyway, so Kevin takes two of his favorite experiences as a little boy, and he does the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup thing. He rams them together. And so this is Road Trip USA, with the idea that you climb into a classic convertible from the 50s, and then you head off on this Disney-ified version of Route 66, where you see weird natural phenomena. And again, if you've ever seen the videos of Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, particularly the American Southwest section, you get the geysers, the paint pots, the weird-shaped cactuses, that sort of thing.
But I mean, you've driven through the Southwest. You also see things like here's a graveyard of Cadillacs, all buried nose first in the ground with their some of it's bizarre, right?
Yeah.
Some of it's strange.
But the kicker here that Kevin just brought everything that he'd learned from the Disney parks into play. So, for example, if you decided to have lunch outside at Marty's Malt shop, the patio would then overlook Road Trip USA, at least the outside portion.
And Flo's does, right? Flo's is actually a great place to sit in. And
this is an idea that survived into the Cars Land we know today. But knowing what a big fan you are of the Rainbow Caverns portion of Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, Kevin wanted that to return. So the finale of Road Trip USA, again, Kevin Rafferty never met a pun that he didn't love. So, for example, in this case, you drove through the Carlsbad Cavern.
Like Carlsbad?
There we go.
Where's Is Carlsbad in California?
It's New Mexico.
New Mexico. Okay, thanks.
But anyway, but again, with the notion of when you're in that space, you get a wonderful recreation of all of the effects and the design that was done for the original Rainbow Caverns at Disneyland.
I love the idea of a road trip attraction. And I just want to throw one more idea in here too. They should let you bring food and drinks onto the attraction because it's a road trip. And I believe, Jim, that you could sell enough beef jerky and Diet Mountain Dew for people getting on that ride to pay for the ride in here. Like, you know the saying, right? Every road trip should include snacks that look like you gave an unsupervised 12-year-old $100 and threw them in a convenience store. Like, if your road trip snacks don't look like that, you've done it wrong. God, I love it. Okay.
It's interesting you say that because now, again, so you're in your car, you're eating your snacks, and well, before we return to the offload later, we should probably clean the car for the next guest. So what do before you head into the offload area? You go into a car wash.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is Kevin also was smart enough to realize, I mean, I'm pulling stuff from classic Disneyland attractions, but I should also acknowledge that there are other Disney theme parks that that have ideas that would work in Carland. So what he did is he took, the end of Kali River Rapids, when you're coming in and you go under that bridge with the people with the elephant-shaped water guns.
Escorting at you. Oh, wait, so these cars are convertibles though, right?
Well,
and you're in a car wash? I get it. Okay.
All right. And
that's hilarious.
And people on the outside of the street on Cruise Street can look in through the window and then blast you with a little spritz of water. So
I love it. That's a great idea.
And speaking of other great ideas, Kevin was smart enough to look at the success that Sci-Fi Dine-In had been at MGM and said, okay, that's a gimme. Let's just put that in Carland.
And that would be historically accurate. Like, that would work. Even though it's a copy, I would be all over that, sure.
All right. But so now, this is what Cruise Street was supposed to be like. How this then mutates into Radiator Springs, the one we know and love today, we'll get to in just a sec. But first, this.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder, because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites at participating McDonald's for a limited time.
Tonight, turn down the noise of the day and focus on the rest with AGZ, the nightly drink for winding down and resting up. New from AG1. AGZ supports your body's natural sleep cycle with clinically studied key herbs, adaptogens, and minerals in amounts supported by research. And no melatonin, helping you wake feeling rested. Wind down, rest up with AGZ. Learn more at drinkagz.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
All right, so we're back. All right, so as we mentioned earlier in today's show, Kevin Rafferty gets the assignment to dream up Cars Land, 2004. 2005, big year for the Disney company. Michael Eisner opts out of running Disney a full year ahead of schedule. It was originally under contract to stay on as Disney CEO through September of 2006. Bob Iger becomes the new head of the company, September 2005. Priority one is fixing Disney's very damaged relationship with Steve Jobs. And Bob accomplishes this in less than 4 months. Now, mind you, pricey fix, again, $7.4 billion. Also worth noting here that automatically made Steve Jobs the largest individual shareholder. Which, by the way, his bride or his widow is now the largest individual shareholder. And anyway, Lasseter goes from being the head of Pixar Animation Studios. He also takes on those same duties at Disney Animation Studios, and same window of time, becomes the principal creative advisor for Disney Imagineering.
Wow.
So, as Len mentioned, John and Kevin are already having conversations. But important to stress this timeline. So, Disney buys Pixar January of 2006. He becomes principal creative advisor April of that same year, 2006. And Cars, the movie, Len, doesn't get released to theaters till June of that same year. So 2006.
Okay.
All right. And
but Rafferty's been working on this since 2004. When did Lasseter bring him up to Emeryville?
Well, I want to say officially. I mean, again, they were quiet backdoor conversations, but it was only when they acquired the studio.
Okay, 2006. Okay. So 2004, Kevin Rafferty's doing Cars Land, but before 2006, before the deal was made official, they're at least having some conversations.
They are.
Lasseter and Rafferty. Like, hey, here's two things we're working. Okay, got it. All right, but now they've got to think. Now with the roadblocks around the corporate relationship removed, they've got to think more about integration.
They do. And more to the point, also, you have a board of directors like the effect of, we just paid $7.4 billion for Pixar. I want to get some of that money back. And so, now mind you, again, Cars the movie opens in theaters June of 2006. And there's like a 3-month window where the company is like, okay, it's doing really well in theaters, and woof, look at the amount of merch. Eventually, Len, at the absolute height, Cars as a franchise was earning the company $3 billion a year.
All right, so pause there for 1 second, because you remember when Disney announced that Piston Peak was coming to Magic Kingdom in Frontierland. We noted that if you look at Disney franchises that do not have dedicated attractions in Walt Disney World, Cars had sold 21 billion in merch and tickets, and it did not have an attraction in Walt Disney World. And I think the next highest franchise was like $2 billion.
Oh, yeah.
So it was an order of magnitude bigger in terms of merch sales than the next best choice for anything coming into Walt Disney World. So, yeah, so clearly Disney knows about merch from Cars, right?
No, absolutely. And certainly it was time to address this in Florida. But again, they're waiting till Labor Day weekend this is how it did over the summer. These are the preliminary merch sales. And because again, if we're going to do something like Radiator Springs and bring that authentically into California Adventure, that's going to be pricey. And so there was this weird 6-month period between April and September of 2006. There was kind of a half measure thing going on. And again, remember, John Lasseter has just become the principal creative advisor for Imagineering. And he looks at DCA and says, well, look, right now, my take on what's wrong with this theme park is it needs more characters. I mean, yes, Disneyland has rides like Space Mountain and Big Thunder that don't necessarily feature Disney characters, but also has things like Peter Pan Flight, Snow White Scary Adventure, Dumbo, Teacups, which have very strong direct connections, strong associations with long-beloved films from the Disney catalog. So if you're going to do this, turning DCA into a Disneyland equivalent, you need to build attractions like this on the other side of Disneyland Plaza. So we talked previously about the Monsters, Inc. thing opening in January of 2006. And, of course, prior to that, October of 2002, we got Bugs Land. But where this got interesting, Len, is in 2006, the Imagineers were already well into development of a ride-through shooter for the Disney parks called Mickey's Midway Mania.
Oh, like Toy Story Mania. Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay.
But that's it exactly. It's like, our brand new boss is the guy who's in charge of Pixar, and perhaps to make the new boss happy, maybe we should take Mickey's Midway Mania and build it around characters that he himself worked on. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. And by the way, this worked out exactly as the Imagineers thought it would. December of 2006, Len, Toy Story Midway Mania got greenlit. The very next month, it got officially announced. And by May of 2008, the first one was open. That's
wow.
I mean think about that.
Fast.
That's what is it? 18 months from yes, let's do this to yes, climbing into their vehicle and firing away.
It's like 1/5 of a Tron. That's amazing. and the surprising thing there is like that was new technology for the Disney parks at the time, right? The screens, that was all new.
Oh, and never mind the moonshot of think about it. Mr. Potato Head and that animatronic figure that
so good.
Yeah.
And that was a smash hit when it opened too. Like from the day it opened, it was popular. Right. Okay.
So again, we're back to that 6-month period, 2006, where Cars Land is. They're talking. It's a hybrid.
It's a hybrid. Yeah. Look at the pun you did. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Go ahead.
But at this point, it's like, all right. So Kevin's like Lasseter says, let's put characters in. All right. So how do I put characters in Car Land? And some of it was easy. Mm-hmm. They looked at Road Trip USA, and it's like, well, Goofy made that short in 1950, Motor Mania. What if now, instead of just being Road Trip USA, it's Goofy's Road Trip USA? And what's funny about this version of the ride, Len, is that it leans back into the Goofy movie. And so now when you drive by these various little roadside attractions or natural phenomena, you've got Goofy and his son Max. Not only that, you've got their yellow pacer from the Goofy movie.
From the movie, yeah.
But that's the thing. They leaned into that film from 1995.
All right.
Now, on the other hand, there was also, what's another famous Disney car? And it's like, the thing that immediately came to mind was Herbie the Love Bug.
Right. Oh, and that's time period appropriate too. Early 50s and 60s.
Well,
right?
Actually, the original Herbie came out in 68. In fact, people today don't remember this, but Len, that was the number 3 film at the American box office in 1968. Only 2001: A Space Odyssey and Funny Girl made more money that year. I mean,
wow.
Yeah, and in fact, the thing you'd probably especially love is the Love Bug actually managed to outgross Bullet, the Steve McQueen.
another movie with a famous car scene.
Well, no, that's it exactly. It's like, really? You want this little Volkswagen as opposed to Steve McQueen? Okay, got it.
All right. So the fun thing about the car chase scene in Bullet, the car that Steve McQueen is driving has its hubcaps regenerate during the scene. So apparently they filmed it in multiple takes, and the hubcaps kept falling off because the high speed turns. Yeah. And they kept putting them back on, but not realizing that some of the time they'd fallen off. Anyway.
Yeah, that tells you how often fans have watched Bullet.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're that engaged. Wait a minute, hubcap on, hubcap off, hubcap on.
All right, so we've got Herbie the Love Bug, so that's a possibility for this land as well. Okay, fair. Go ahead.
But here's the interesting thing, that Disney did a couple of sequels in the 70s to Herbie. What is it? Herbie Rides Again in 74. Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo 77. Herbie Goes Bananas in 1980s. There was even an attempt at a TV series on CBS that ran for like 5 episodes.
Wait, so hold on. So CBS had Herbie the Love Bug and the Love Boat?
ABC.
Sorry, ABC. All right. So are we like, we don't have a love train, although that's an OJ song. We have a boat, a train. We need a love plane.
Oh, good.
You know, there's somebody at the WB taking notes on this right now.
Okay. I'm just going to put this out there. If you want something fun to Google NBC Super Train, which again, in that same window of time, one of the biggest failures in Hollywood history. It was just the attempt to let's do a Love Boat type show on a train.
On a train. All right.
Anyway, and the interesting thing is just the year previous, Len, Disney had, in fact, tried to relaunch the Herbie franchise. It was the Lindsay Lohan movie, Herbie Fully Loaded.
Right, she did a Herbie the Love Bug movie.
Yes, in 2005. But the weird part of it is it performed so poorly at the box office. Really? Imagineering was like, maybe we don't want Herbie to be rolling through car land.
Huh.
But anyway, all right, long story short, by Labor Day, they have the hard numbers for car ticket sales worldwide. They have the merch things, and it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's do what we say we've never done before. But again, we talked about this in the last show. There was a Bugs Land, but 3 acres dedicated to that movie from 1998. On the other hand, Cars Land, an entirely different animal. 12 acres.
Did they have 12 acres open in DCA?
Well, they did have the Timon parking lot still sitting back there.
All right. Okay. All right.
And kind of interesting to sacrifice the parking lot for something that's Cars themed.
Yeah, it's appropriate. Yeah.
But yeah, this And when we get to the final installment of the series, which we will next week, we have to bring on Jim Schul, veteran Imagineer, because he's going to talk to us about a little known aspect of this project, which again, $500 million of the $1.1 billion that was spent for the original redo of DCA, just spent on Cars Land. But there's an aspect of this that people rarely think about, that it wasn't just what people were going to see inside of the theme park when they walked into Radiator Springs, but Disneyland is that interesting sort of animal where it's in the Garden District of Anaheim.
Right. Yeah. So the east side is, commercial motels, but the west side of Disneyland is residential. It's apartment buildings and things, and people live there.
Oh, they do.
And they're building the desert Southwest with mountains.
Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay. I got it. Okay. Yes. Yeah, you've got some neighborhood. You've got some HOA issues. You gotta work around.
That's it exactly. Okay. More to the point, the city of Anaheim has to sign off on how this looks from the outside. So, but again, we will finally complete the series next week. But again, this is where we get to the inside and the outside of Radiator Springs at the Disneyland Resort.
Oh, that's fantastic! All right, yeah, I can't wait to have Jim Schill on, because I'm sure he was there at the time. He was living in California. He probably knows a lot about this.
Watch this happen in real time.
Fantastic! All right, can't wait for the next episode. Thanks, Jim.
Oh, speaking of Jim Schill, want to throw a quick plug in here. The Disney Journey that will be going live later this week. Actually, Jim tells the story of, back in the 30s, people used to go to Hyperion Studios, where Walt was making the Mickey Mouse shorts at the time, and they'd literally show up at the front door, like hoping to get to see Mickey.
Mickey clocking in for work, like walking from the employee parking lot over to...
There we go. And the interesting part is what Walt learned from what people expected. If we jump forward a few decades, that's what then leads to things like Mickey's Toontown in Anaheim and Tokyo, and likewise Bonjour Mickey at Walt Disney Studios Park in Paris.
I love it.
That's the story Jim will be sharing over on YouTube later this week.
It's funny you mentioned that, because if the first idea for meeting Mickey Mouse was meeting Mickey Mouse in the studio because Mickey's a movie star, it's really sort of the genesis for there being Mickey Mouse character greeting places that are themed to each park. Like the one in the Animal Kingdom is the Adventurers Outpost. So, Jim, that's part of Jim Schill's Disney Journey.
There we go.
All right, I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Cool.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the show today. You can help support our show by subscribing over at patreon.com/Jim Hill Media, where we're posting exclusive shows every week. Our latest show is on the history of Test Track 1, 2, and 3, and there's a link in the show notes. On next week's show, we bring in Imagineer Jim Schill to talk about how Disneyland got Cars Land opened. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and more of me, Len, at touringplans.com. We're produced spectacularly by Eric Hersey and David Gray, who'll be singing Better Be Good to Me and, of course, Proud Mary in the requisite silver fringe dresses at Tina Turner Heritage Days, starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, September 27th, 2025 at Heritage Park. That's on East Jefferson Street in beautiful downtown Brownsville, Tennessee. While Eric and David are shaking that, please go onto iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is... Jim actually fell down laughing there. For Jim, this is Len. We'll see you on the next show.